Welcome, everyone. This is once again your host, Shailesh, bringing you live all the topics that we always try to make a difference to the community, to the society. And today's topic is going to be very interesting. Not just interesting, it is our core ingredient of who we are as a human being. And human beings' journey starts when they are little, but then when you are little, we are called babies, we are called kids, we are called toddlers, we are called lots of different names when we are little. But that's where the journey of a human life starts. And I think today's voice we are going to make and uncover a lot of things is called the kids' voice. So, what is kids' voice? Why do we have to advocate for kids? Because who we are when we are as a human being and what we can do for our generations to come. Because these kids are the same kids who grow up and then they make a difference to the community in their own way, but also make the direction of the country to who they are. So it's important when they are little. What do we know about them? How do we make them grow in a way, in a society where everything and everyone is accepted just the way we human beings are? So today I have got an amazing guest speaker with me, Hinerongonui Kingi, who is all the way from Rotorua. She's our local. She's from Kiwi and she's Maori, but she is a human being to start with. And I wanted to bring her because we talk a lot about kids. Then we talk about kids into different divisions. We say that kid come from this background, that kid come from this language, this culture, all of that thing. But they are kids. For nothing matters more than their kids. Just like we are human beings, it doesn't matter as far as we are gender wise, we are male, female, kids, woman, wife, men, doesn't matter. We are first and foremost humans. And just like that, the first and foremost, today's topic is kids' voice. So, first of all, acknowledge that they are kids and don't divide them into different cultures or different languages or different, upbringing, doesn't matter. They are kids. They have the same kind of a mindset when it comes to as their actions that they do as a kids. They are very innocent. They are very, very divine. So let's talk about this kid's voice, which I've got this lovely guest speaker, Hine Nonoi, which is also, I call her in short form, Hine. So Hine, welcome to this amazing episode today we are doing with you, and thank you for coming live on this show. So I'm going to first ask you because I want to do a little introduction of you and then you can talk about you more and then we'll get into this. So Hine is absolutely an amazing performer, a creative person. And who not? Like every human is a creative. They have this creation in them, but have they explored their creation? Have they known about their potential creativity? Or do they need to excel and explore their creativity? So we are going to talk about kids, but she is all about passionate about culture, about performing arts, and she's a great advocate. But she's also an ambassador for the Maori culture, for the Maori language, and you name it, and she wants to, be heard not just as Maori, but as a human being, as a New Zealand, as a Kiwi, that we all are here to understand and to make this nation a better. So, Hine, this is amazing that you are coming here and talking about this topic. But tell us something about you. What have you so far known about yourself? And then we can get into this beautiful topic, kids' voice. Welcome.
Awesome. Firstly, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me um, on your show today to have a conversation about this really beautiful topic where we all kind of begin, how we begin, how important it is to nurture that as we progress and as we learn more as artists. They're not just artists or performers, but as people, as you have said, as human, how we interact, how we connect, and how we can further pass on the knowledge and through life experience, through the degrees that we may attain, if not through, once again, the life experience. And we can learn this from many different ways,
mm,
as you have mentioned.
mm,
And I have been absolutely humbled and very honored to be able to, in a small way, be able to show and be a part of not only some of the children here within New Zealand, but their upbringing through certain work. But I think that it is very a beautiful conversation to have
mm.
today on this beautiful sunny day here in Rotorua. So thank you
Yeah.
very much for having me on the show today.
No, thank you, Hine. And so we will start with this, like, why we are doing this and what is kids' voice. So when I say what is kids' voice is what I wanted to understand, irrespective, as you rightly said, irrespective, not only just in New Zealand, kids are everywhere in the world, in the universe. And we start our life journey with kids as a kid. So what is kids' voice? That we want to do today. What exactly means is kids' voice? And why do we need to talk about this topic? Can you elaborate and what is your view and what is your vision for the kids? How do you see this as our, you know?
Awesome. Just going off the conversation, the brief conversation we have had,
Yes.
um, I just, it's extremely important
Mm,
uh, to be able to, for one, be
mm,
able to see in a bigger picture and in the future and for our future generations, and not just for our future generations, but to start now to have this conversation, why it is so important
mm,
to uh, surround our children with what it is that allows them to be who they are in a way that is going to be safe
mm,
for the children and those that are teaching the children, also to be able to create an environment that is safe, to be
mm,
able to provide the resources that they
mm,
need, and to be able to select the people that are passionate about this for the future, for our children, for today, and also to acknowledge all those who have helped to lead the way and pave
mm,
the way and try and make a better place uh,
mm,
for for this reason. And it is important because a lot of this knowledge and a lot of this information,
mm,
it is not being shared for
mm,
many reasons.
mm,
But in terms of the children and
mm.
the kids' voice, how we can continue to keep them as pure as possible,
Yeah.
as close to their nature as possible. Within the world, it is possible.
Mm,
And it is possible to be able to do this, to acknowledge there are so many resources and information out there today. And there are certain ways that work for different people. But I believe that if we are able to, as
mm,
you have said, regardless of who you are, regardless of your background, regardless
mm,
of where you are situated within the world, that it is important to know that as human, we can all
mm.
connect and communicate on a
Absolutely.
human level, which is basically what we're doing now, having this conversation.
And also it is so good to see that when there's an entertainment event, then everybody comes irrespective of where they are, who they are. If they like entertainment, they will come and they will attend those entertainment events, right? Just like that, irrespective where you are, who you are as a kid. If there are kids, then we consider kids as one of those divine innocent souls that we can interact, that we can bring them together, and that we can connect them together. And it is so easy for us to resonate with the kids, irrespective of where they are, who they are, right? And so it becomes like an entertainment, but more resonating to our life journey. So when I talk about this, why it is important, the kids' voice, and why we have to keep doing this, or why it is important also to be a kid's voice, because kids are our generations to come, because these kids then develop into beautiful human beings, citizens, and then they make the country better, better, better. And then we can become the pioneer as a nation to do a lot of things when it comes to the kids advocacy, or when it comes to kids. So I want to touch on this, why it is important, because our kids are so like a human being, as I said, but if they are ignored, let's talk about if they are ignored, who they become, what they do. Tell me something about your experiences, why it is so important. If we ignore, what will happen? Just talk about that.
Yeah, great. So I believe that through some of the experiences that I've had from a young performer,
Mm.
being starting performing at a very young age, the age of 4, and then
Right.
working within the industry of performing arts, tourism, culture, things like this since the age of 6, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to do this type of work internationally and nationally, it opened my eyes
Yeah.
to a universal way of
Mm.
history,
Mm.
what it is, how we connect as human,
Mm.
regardless of which culture that we're from or ethnicity,
Mm.
that we how we do this. And I think that it's really important to be able to um, understand and be able to see and appreciate what it is when a child is presenting an idea, for example,
Mm. Mm.
um, and how you listen to that child
Mm.
is really important, and how you view and how you speak to the child
Yeah.
is very important.
Yeah.
The reason why is because they will take that information and they will absorb that
Mm.
energy that you
Mm.
are giving.
Mm.
They will absorb those words that you are speaking to them, and
Absolutely.
that will continue.
Mm.
And if we're speaking about on a wider scale,
Mm.
uh, as as a one people, as a nation,
Mm.
how we do this is very important, and there can be so many offcuts of that. As you have said, positive
Yeah.
decisions that children, as they turn into young
Mm.
adults, what that they make for themselves, for their
Mm.
family, for their children.
Yeah. And it is so important what you said is as a performer, as a creative, when little kids are there, they can express. They may not be able to speak the adult language, but their expression is good enough for adults to understand what they are seeking, what they want, or how what's their talent or what's their skills. And if
And
we
they can
give,
see,
yeah.
they can absorb children, babies,
Mm.
they can see, they can feel it, they can see it, and it's something that stays with them as they grow older, which is
100%.
why this
And that
topic
is
is so awesome.
100%. And that is so important when they are little to put those safety nets around them, to put those positive environment around them, to give them that platform to perform and to express and to explore rather than saying, hey, you do this, you do that. It
And
becomes
want
like,
to be able to give the information
yeah.
back and share that.
Mm.
There's some beautiful stories that have
Mm-hmm.
been, that have not been shared yet,
Mm-hmm.
that are really great. And there's also ways that they can be shared,
Mm.
that is really awesome. Why this topic is so important, to be able to wrap our wings around these children,
Yes.
and be able to really make sure that they know firstly that they are absolutely needed and absolutely appreciated, and we can then use, because we are able to do that. Once that is done, and that will happen, that
Mm.
we are able to then use everything else for the everything that's going to
Mm-hmm.
continue to make us grow as
Yeah.
people in a
Yeah.
positive with a
Absolutely.
positive outcome.
Mm. So can you tell me in your experience to us and to everyone who was listening, like what did you find as a performer, as an artist or as a creative? You don't know until somebody tells you that, oh, she's a great singer or great artist or great instrument. Unless somebody validates, nobody knows. You don't know your own talent, but you know inside what you like, what you are passionate and what you can perform and what you can do. So, in your experience, how important it is to get these platforms to express, to explore at an early age of your life, so that what you are today, when you look back, if you had not got certain things, then you would not have become what you have become today. How do you view this important aspect for a child, that needs to happen when they are little? They need to be given that free hand or free exploration. How do you
Oh,
view that?
I absolutely love that you have said it. I think that it's so important to say
Mm.
it out loud. I like what
Yeah.
and address the situation and acknowledge.
Mm.
I feel like once you acknowledge a
Yeah.
situation, a circumstance, a type of feeling, some type of creative outlet for this,
Mm.
regard what that may be. I understand that everyone learns in different ways. Some
Mm.
people learn, there are four different ways that we learn.
Mm.
Some people learn using all four senses.
Yeah.
Some people learn in many different ways, but understanding that and saying it out loud, like for
Mm.
example, you just said
Yeah.
something that I have never really heard anyone else say apart from my father,
Mm.
who
Mm.
is a artist in his own right and a
Right.
musician and a teacher, and he is the one who
Wow.
taught myself and all my brothers how to play musical
Mm-hmm.
instruments growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, I'm really happy you said that because
Mm.
he will ask me how a performance went because he won't know
True.
what what it's
Exactly.
like, and I'll be too embarrassed to ask how
Mm.
the performance went, but I also won't know because once
Mm.
you're in it and when you've rehearsed for something for so long, for
Yeah.
example, say kapahaka,
Yeah.
um, this could be a yearly thing. It could be ongoing. You might
Mm.
be in it for like 6 years. There's people that they have been in it for 20 years, 30 years, things like this,
Mm.
continuously training towards a certain performance. And once you're in the performance, you're in the moment and you're really just riding that wave. And
Yeah.
so it's for myself, one thing that you kind of notice as a performer is how that is received energetically, how
Yeah.
that's received, how it feels, and how what people have said. As you have mentioned, they
Mm.
will let you know.
Mm.
And I think that validation for myself, it come and there was a lot of the validation for myself came from a feeling that I got
Right.
from knowing that I worked really,
Mm.
really um,
Sure.
diligently
Mm. Mm.
towards something and focused on that very a specific project and and putting my everything in it. And I think kids do that naturally. Kids
Yeah.
put everything, they live that way. And
Mm-hmm.
so to grow up and then have to really remember, it's so important as an artist that
Absolutely.
you remember why you're doing something. And I think that people can connect with this,
Mm.
um, in many fields of area of work that as you grow older, sometimes you do have to, it's Christmas tomorrow. So
Yes.
Merry Christmas,
Mm.
everyone. And it's really good to know that
Mm.
you have um, these feelings and these things you can fall back on as a
Mm.
child and who you are as your natural essence that you can say, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing because
Yeah.
I do like this thing, or maybe I'm just someone's told me that I'm good at it, or maybe it just
Mm.
made someone feel good.
Yeah.
And because it made someone feel good for myself,
Mm.
when I make someone feel good, that always makes me feel good as well because I know that they're feeling good, and I know children do this.
Yeah.
They get your attention, they want to make you feel good.
Yeah.
If they think they've made you happy, they'll continue to do this. And
So
it's
it's
important for us to remember because we can forget sometimes.
absolutely. And so it is good to understand the kids' point of view and the kids' way, the way they think, rather than, sometimes we say adults have to become kids to understand kids, or they
Yeah.
have to become one, or they have to remember and reflect their own childhood or their own when they were little kids. What did they do? Rather than saying that I am adult and I will do whatever I want to because I am not a kid anymore. And then the kid feels threatened or unsafe, because you are behaving like something that they don't understand. They are a alien for it. But I want to come back to that. We talked about the kids needed platforms when they are little, to understand and give them this free hand to explore. But I want to go back to the basic fundamental of kids, and I want your vision and opinion about it. That when we say kids want to be get educated or want to get into performance or want to get to explore their creativity, that's the secondary part. The first primary part is the kids basic requirements are met, like getting food on time or getting nutritions on time, so that they grow healthy and then they also think healthy, they also become more energetic and more healthy. How important is that aspect prior, when they are little, as we when they are babies, we feed them, we try to put all the safety nets around them, we try to give all the nutritious food around that. But then there are babies, or there are kids who don't get this kind of facilities, or who don't kind get all of this. And this is where the kids voice become very prominent and important. To start off our topic, that kids voice is not just to give them platforms, but also to give them the basic rights, basic fundamental needs to be met, whether it is food, whether it is clothing, whether it is roof, whether it is good healthy environment, whatever it is, we have to give that as a human, and as their right. How you important is that for you when you see that around, not just in New Zealand but around the world also, we see kids are ignored for the basic entitlement. How do you view this? How do you see this as important aspect of our human life, as our kids' voice, when you want to advocate for it?
I believe that it is really important to go back to
Mm,
the basics, which is the basic necessities of what a child needs, simple things. Once the child understands this as a baby, how important the child will work alongside, for example,
mm,
my children.
mm,
We work together in a way, and they will let me know, and I will let them know. And
mm,
I'm sure there's many other parents that have this relationship with their children.
mm,
And if you don't, I think that there's just certain ways that children are able to view a situation, view their parents. Children can be very protective of their parents. I have
yeah.
seen this.
Mm,
Um, they will embody
mm,
what they have seen, what they have learnt.
mm,
I have had the privilege of meeting a lot of different children that are
mm,
absolutely beautiful. I
mm,
have a very soft spot for our children
mhm,
around the world,
mm,
and especially within New Zealand here, which is why I did make it a priority while I was touring internationally to come back to New
yeah.
Zealand and
Mm,
go into the different communities that were unable. Most of them, I started off, I was very, very, very
mm,
grateful to be able to be a part and work alongside as an artist, and be able to make an opportunity for children to perhaps learn or listen and view and see a show, which was basically uh, a health educational, from a science point of view, in the Māori language, in the Te Reo Māori language, and also in the English language, dependent on the show grew, and it was really good for myself to be able to go into
mm,
these community and
mm,
see the different types of ways that the children are being, and children learn and how they learn and how quick they learn.
mm,
Obviously, they will. I will ask them questions.
mm.
They will always give the right answer.
So what's your call on the advocacy for getting the basic needs met? Like the kids expect a lot from their immediate parents or immediate people who are looking after them, because they don't know who they are, what they are. They know they are my dad and mom, but they don't know what's the meaning of dad and mom. And but they know that they can expect, they trust these people around them at that time when they are little. And so their expectation is to have the basic needs met. And in terms of what we are doing today is understanding how important it is to advocate these basic fundamental rights of being met
Right.
by the kids, for the kids, how
Mm.
important is that? It's not just our country, it's everywhere around, and it's not just one culture. Kids are kids, as I said. But if you have to do this advocacy for these kids, because you have your own kids, I have my own kids, and when we talk about this kids voice, the first thing is we have to ensure that our neighbor, our friends, our family, whoever it is, has got their kids and they are
I
meeting their
think
goals.
once, just going off that,
Mm-hmm.
um, once a child, I think that it is so important, and
Mm.
I see this happening within New Zealand, and it's great. It's really great. I see that they have
Yeah.
lunches that they're now giving. When I was younger, they had just introduced
True.
toothbrushes and toothpaste to
Yeah.
the children, to ourselves. As I was just leaving, say,
Mm-hmm.
intermediate, I know that they
Mm-hmm.
provide lunches now. I thought that was a great initiative.
Yes.
I think that it should be for all.
Mm.
I think it is so important. I think once each child and person, especially within, I've seen it happen and it works, and I know it to work and to be great. I
Mm.
think that there can be, because we're in New Zealand and it is a multicultural, um,
Absolutely.
we are very diverse people here. We're
Mm.
very open people here,
Mm.
and we really do have, our vision does include everyone within the world.
Mm.
I think that because of this reason, and because Māori people are very generous people and
Yes.
very kind
Mm.
people, I think it's about being able to give these basic necessities, homes. I'm
Mm.
talking like we need to, like, homes. I'm
True.
talking about, I mean, like, these things need to just be given. Like, these
Mm.
need to be an actual thing that people are not worrying about, because at the moment the attention is this, and that's fine. We don't need to be worrying about that. We just need to know, if we had these basic necessities, water, food, a house,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
top of the line, I'm talking
Mm.
top of the line
Yeah.
stuff. The rest of the world, people are going to be able to function and be themselves. There's not going to be these limits that
Mm.
mentally,
True.
spiritually, physically,
Mm.
emotionally, our children are going to be
Mm.
in the exact place where they need to be, because everyone will be, there won't
Mm.
be those limitations. People won't be trying to strive towards something that really is, and at the end of the day, it's a basic, it's a
Agree.
necessity, it's what we need to survive. Water, food, comfort. We need to be
Mm.
able to relax when we finish work. We want to be able to give our best performance and presentation. We need to clothing. We
Mm.
need to be able to go to work and have these things sorted, so that once we're there, the ideas are going to flow, the
Mm.
performance is going to be top of the line,
Yeah.
and there is going to be really no limits
Yeah.
to the creation and the creating that can
Mm.
be projected, and the ideas that can be given and had.
Yeah, so I think what you are suggesting is, like, the basic needs need to be met so that they can perform well, but they can also think, and they can think positively and also make a difference when
And
they
be
are little.
themselves. They
And be
also give
themselves.
everyone
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
mutual playing ground to
Mm.
be themselves. And
Mm.
once that is in place, everyone will be able to accept,
Mm.
embrace,
Mm.
and be
Mm.
themselves, and be able to appreciate and
Mm.
acknowledge every single person within this nation that we live in New Zealand,
Yeah.
and also internationally, because we are connected through the environment, through our energy that we put out
Mm.
into this world, and most importantly, for our
Mm.
children, who are going to continue
Mm.
to uphold and um, and be everything that we really do want them to be, which is everything
Absolutely.
positive, and everything for everyone that's going to be great.
Yeah. So after that, I wanted to just checking on that point. What you said is, yeah, we have to give those things. So whose responsibility it is to create an environment for these kids when they are little, to make sure that the environment is very positive and very much aligned for the kids to keep that going, because there are kids who don't have parents, there are kids whose parents are single parents, there are kids who have got no parents at all, and they are in foster care or in different care. And so when you look at these kids, they are kids. It doesn't matter where they belong, what they are doing, but they are kids. And they need the same kind of entitlement what every other kid needs, right?
Absolutely. I think that
So,
because of that reason, I think
mm,
that there needs to be a huge understanding that,
mm,
especially children like this,
mm,
we really do need to look after these children really, really,
yeah,
really um, closely. And the reason why we say this is because these children do grow up in this way. There is the potential. We do want to work with children like this. Absolutely. I have a very good friend that I know was an orphan.
mm-hmm,
Um, Absolutely good heart, good person.
mm,
But in saying that, there's a certain way that because this person wasn't nurtured in this way, and
mm,
I know that they will understand um,
mm,
me saying this because we are very yeah, it'll be fine,
mm,
is that um, as an example,
yeah,
this person is in terms of if we're speaking and from a perspective that is inclusive of all.
of all.
Um, and Māori and just people in general, this person had taught me
Mm,
the importance of children, the importance
mm-hmm,
of um, being a Māori, and
yeah,
how awesome it is to be a Māori, having grown pretty much lived in overseas,
mm,
basically majority of their time in America,
mm,
which great things, but
mm,
having to understand that, oh, actually, I'm a Māori, and how proud that you can be to be a Māori, and why that's important.
yeah,
When you get put into high positions, you
mm,
want to be able to work with someone that has been nurtured
mm,
in a way, and once that person is nurtured,
mm,
and we say this because we're all one as one people, we work together, our children, who we're looking after, who's
mm,
looking after our children,
mm,
ourselves,
yeah,
um, and to be able to kind of understand that these children and these children really, really do need extra care and extra love. And I'm very, very fortunate to come from a family that
mm,
we're very open in this way,
open. Mm,
in terms of we don't look at children if they're not. We embrace, and I know that that's a Māori way of
mm.
being, and I know
And
that
that's where I'm coming.
many people
Mm,
internationally, not just Māori, but I know it's a huge Māori concept
yeah,
and value, that Māori will pick up a child
mm,
that and treat them exactly like they're their own child.
absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
know I've and seen internationally that this, I've been billeted before in China
Mm,
when I was 13.
mm-hmm,
I did have Chinese mum, dad, and family
mm-hmm,
there. So I understand the concept
mm,
from a Māori, and also having
yeah.
lived overseas, been overseas, and kind of being emerged in different cultures as such.
It's so important. And so I wanted to understand this because, I understand Maori culture is exactly like inclusive of everything. And they don't divide, they don't define. They are just like absolutely inclusive of everything, like a nature. Like, the river, the ocean, the mountain. It's not belong to anyone. It belongs to everyone. And that is what the Maori culture, what I have understood, is they inclusive of everyone, and they look after everyone as their family, as their whānau, and all of these things, that values that they have. But then, in New Zealand we have got many different cultures coming, whether it's from China, Africa, India, whatever. But when they come with their own background, with their own cultural baggage of
That's the
what they.
importance of the hongi.
Yeah.
We do the haka pōwhiri process, and it is
Hmm.
such an honour and it's such a privilege that our culture is embraced the way it is internationally.
Mm.
It has been an absolutely humbling experience to, in a
Good.
very small way,
Mm.
be able to feel this and witness this firsthand
Mm.
from different cultures, and also be a host here in New Zealand, and a performer here for international visitors and guests.
mm,
and also travel abroad to share the culture
mm,
for important kaupapa or projects in the past has been
mm,
hugely beneficial, I believe,
mm,
in a knowledge-based theoretical
mhm,
form if we're speaking in that way.
mm.
Because for our children, they're going to always be able to give that back anyway, and they
Correct.
will grab what we are teaching them. They will feel that passion that we have as performers and as teachers and as parents, and also as caregivers and guardians,
Mm,
and just people that absolutely love children,
mm,
um, and people in general.
mm.
Just to be
Yeah,
able to
yeah.
connect in that way that awakens that place within each individual human being,
Mm.
that allows us to connect and to remember who we are as people.
And so coming on to that, adding to that, when kids don't have parents or kids have single parents or kids are foster parents or whatever, but then there are kids who are, we call them or somebody makes them label them as disability, or they are not having being challenged kids. They have got their physical challenges, right? When there are
I'm a
those
huge
kids.
advocate for
Me too. And so I
it's
want to talk
really
about that.
important. Thank you
Mm.
so much for bringing this to
Mhm.
the table or to the conversation. As
Mm.
it is so important, and it's something that I haven't actually said out loud. So I'm really appreciative that you have
Yeah.
raised this. Is it's really important what you say to a child,
Mm.
and how you say that to your child and why you
Absolutely.
say that to your child, and
Mm.
to ensure that once you say something to a child, most times you shouldn't have to repeat yourself. The
Mm.
child will absorb that information. How they react is how they react. The
Mm.
child will react as per how they have been created, as per
Mm.
their character, their personalities, the traits, and who they are
Mm.
as an individual and
Yeah.
as a human and as a person,
True.
and they will respond. Sometimes it won't be what you may think and how you may think that it might be, but
Mm.
they have absorbed that information.
Absolutely. So it is so important for us to talk about this or advocate for the kids' voice, because kids are kids, but they are our future generations. But also people forget that, there are many parents who don't have kids, but they forget that they were also once kids. So it's just because they don't have kids doesn't mean they should not love kids or they should not care for kids, because kids are kids and they were also once kids. So I always want to understand, as a human
And
life.
that's why it's so important that we have this
Mm.
conversation. And
Yeah.
it's so great, this work that you're doing. And these
Mm.
topics that you cover are absolutely amazing, and they
Mm.
are really important. And I truly believe that that to acknowledge anything and positively for a positive outcome, for a better, brighter, bigger future for
Mm.
the generations, for every person, and to have that concept going into the conversation, and just to have the conversation, I
Yeah.
believe that it is helpful.
Yeah, 100%, 100% it is helpful. So, we talked about the basic needs of the kids, that we want to raise these voices for people to hear and to listen, that no child or no kid to be deprived of that basic entitlement. Second thing, also, no kids or no child should be deprived of the environment that you can create. It is not that only I will create a good environment for certain kids and not for certain kids. Like we call it the haves and the have-nots, affordable and non-affordable.
What I
The
have noticed about children is that
mm,
I have a really, really good relationship with
hmm
nearly every child that I have met. Some of them aren't children anymore, some of them are teenagers.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of them
correct.
are young adults, some of them are parents themselves. Some of them were my students, some of them were family members. Most of them,
Mm,
and the most important thing about this is that exactly what you have just said. They
mm,
understand, they acknowledge, and they are
mm.
happy. Now, the most important thing, what I was going to say that you brought to mind, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, no,
Uh,
fine, go ahead.
Before I lose it, what was important was that to be acknowledged as a child
Mm,
even if it's just for a minute or two.
mm,
Once a child is acknowledged, they will remember that forever.
mm, mm,
I had an auntie when I was young, and she just
mm,
spoke to me once, and I
mm,
absolutely adored my auntie for doing this. And she spoke to me, and she just said to me, she actually said to me, um, you are an absolute superstar. You're going to be an absolute superstar one day.
mm,
And I was a small kid at the marae, and I thought she was a very kind auntie. I didn't believe her. I didn't
mm,
think anything. I wasn't thinking of the future like that. But she
mm.
said it to me, and she took the time to say
Mm.
that she loved me.
Yeah.
Now, I really, to this day, she's a very special auntie to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that when I do this with my, so I've got a goddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
I have namesakes and things like this, um, and I don't see them often. But
Mm,
as children, I did make it very, um, I made sure that I told them
mm.
positive things.
Yeah.
So that they were my superstar, that I loved them and things like that, because my auntie did that and told me that, and I
Mm,
remembered that I
mm.
felt her love. And so,
Absolutely. Mm,
as a child, I believe because it worked, I like to do things that I believe they helped me. So I like to pass that on, and I think that's for myself. That's why I'm very honored to be part of this conversation, because my hope
mm.
is that that can continue.
100%. 100%. That's the aim of us to do this topic because this is so important for us to talk about it because we don't understand the importance and we don't understand the value that can add ultimately to every single because these child, as you rightly said, when they are little, they absorb. Irrespective whether you think they know or not, they do absorb. And when they absorb, that's where they put it out in the community, put it out in the society, just the way they think about it. But giving them that environment, giving them these platforms is very important for us to talk. And then considering the different abnormalities of the children that we are have to deal with, they are part of someone. So they are not just come just because they are disabled or just because they are not having parent doesn't mean that they should be ignored, doesn't mean that they should be left alone on their own. We as a family, we as a human being needs to come and bring them together
And
to
children
work together.
know, I think that
Mm,
once how you speak, how you are as a person too, people
mm,
will respond back to you how you are. And I am just really lucky. I really am just a
mm,
lucky. I'm really, really lucky that I have a musical family.
mhm,
I grew up with very skilled and talented
mm,
performers.
mm,
Um, a lot of them were older than me,
mhm,
and because of this, I was able to see and learn
mm,
from these experts in areas,
mm,
and try and learn as best as I can by observing, listening, absorbing the information. And I truly believe that now, um, because of this and the work environment and being
mm,
able to teach performing arts and live in the world of performing arts, and have basically friends that live and work within the performing arts internationally, worldwide, within New Zealand also, not just in kapaka, but in music, in acting, and connect
mm,
through this level that is just basic human. As a performer,
mm,
we're able to within this area be
mm,
absolutely open about who we are. We
mm,
can make best friends, life
mm.
friends
Absolutely.
within 2 seconds of meeting.
Mm. Ah, 100%
Because
I agree.
we feel like we know each other that well. And so
Yeah.
I've got a lot of friends to this day. We don't speak a lot, but
Mm,
we got along straight away. I've performed at big music festivals, where myself I have a lot of times I get along with the international artists. We will
mm.
be friends straight away. And
Yeah,
I'm speaking
true.
about artists from all around the world. And
Absolutely.
that's that human connection and appreciation and
Mm,
that passion, that shared love of just being a human and appreciating one another's skills and
mm.
talents, and being
Yeah.
able to really be happy about that.
Mm. So I can't help myself in talking about this. We witnessed a lot of things were acknowledged, as you said. We were been talking that first of all, we need to acknowledge their kids. But then we also have acknowledged in the recent years, a few years ago, that there was a child poverty concept came up. And then we had this people, children's been forced to live in vans and caravans and all of that, in spite of the fact that New Zealand has got that beautiful, access to everything. But we let that happen or slips for some reason or whatever. But this child poverty that we talked about and then we want to eliminate. But first of all, we didn't acknowledge that there was an issue, there was a problem.
Yeah.
We just let it grow up, let it
And
grow
that's why,
big.
just to reinforce, that's why it's so
Mm,
important to acknowledge.
mm,
And how we acknowledge is how, as to once it's acknowledged, we release it,
mm.
and we
Yeah,
can then continue to fill our baskets with everything that's
100%.
positive.
So, what are the impacts that, if I had to ask you, like, if we put all these things around kids, all these access that we can give that they require, irrespective of who they are, where they are, what needs to happen in your view, in your world? Not just the parents' responsibility and the surroundings responsibility or neighbors' responsibility, but also enough has to be done where the parents can't reach, where the neighbors can't reach. Then there is these government policies that reach and that comes into play, and then it can make a better place. How critical, how important it is for us to work together with all the people around, irrespective, all organizations, whether it is government, whether it is non-government, whether it is charitable trust, whatever it is, we have to come together and we have to work to this one basic simple concept. How important and how would you think can make a positive impact in your world, in your view?
Awesome. You said it in the beginning of this interview, and yet we've also touched base on it throughout this conversation, just to highlight
Yeah.
again, is that we live within this country we call New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And so within here, we have the native people of New Zealand, which are the Māori people. Um, we work alongside the government. Very
Mm-hmm.
often, we have the Māori language and the English language, which is two um, languages
Mm-hmm.
within New Zealand that we speak, that we are able to speak, that we're able to communicate. We have seen small changes within this. We have a long way to go, and that is a great thing. It is a positive thing because once we do things like what we are doing, it's slowly happening. We have Māori names
Mm-hmm.
at places like McDonald's
Mm-hmm.
within the past 100 years or so, in particular the past 80, 90, maybe more than 100 years. But it has been a slow progress, but a steady
Mm-hmm.
progress. And where I believe with people such as yourself and the support that really is,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's really something that is going to be a positive thing to communicate and work together
100%.
um, alongside one another, as you said, regardless of who you are, and just knowing and understanding that Māori people really are generous people, and we really do want the best for every single person within this world here in New Zealand, and also when we travel overseas. And I can honestly say that we have been able to take our culture internationally, and it is embraced very beautifully in customs that otherwise you are unable to do certain things. I love that that internationally and worldwide, this has been a slow progress for us to be able to get to, but it has been very beautiful to witness
Mm-hmm.
and to be a part
Absolutely.
of for our children, for the next generation, and from people that I know grew up as children within this environment and within this space that allowed them to be themselves as, say, performers, maybe within kapahaka. I know there isn't too many just yet, but I have seen it, and it has been a beautiful, absolute success to be able to see and be a part of companies and foundations and charitable trusts
Mm-hmm.
that are working these initiatives within New Zealand and overseas as per such that. embrace and use the Māori
Good.
culture, and not just the Māori culture, but performing arts. We have our artists such as Cliff Curtis, and Te
Mm.
Morrison, who have Aotearoa affiliation and links very strongly. I
Yeah.
understand we have artists such as Manu Bennett,
Mm.
our international Māori artist from here, from Rotorua,
Mm.
and represent every single day. And
Mm.
it's a great thing to be able to
Mm.
work alongside these cultures
Absolutely.
for our
Absolutely.
children to know that they are safe and they have these things in
Very well
place.
said. Very well said. Then, we have to bring these people who have created a good room for the world to perform. And performances or performing artists are the ones who can create a huge interaction, a huge network, but huge difference to the kids when it comes to, like, if you look at even in the past singers, whether it was Michael Jackson or whether it was Elvis Presley or whether all those people, they did had that something for the kids, for the generations to come. And I think this is where creative artists are the most important persons as well, to bring the kids, irrespective of what their culture and age, they come together.
I think performing arts is a really safe
Mm.
place to be able to
Surprise. Yeah. Mm.
express anything really
Mm.
emotionally,
Mm.
however, whatever topic may be happening at the
Mm.
time. It happens in theatre, it happens on kapaka all the time. Whatever issue that might be being said, they'll say it, the groups will say it at the time. If the government have done something, they will
Mm.
say it within there. It's a safe place to do it.
Mm.
Um, Within theatre, you have these things, and it's always received very positively. One thing that I've seen from people
Mm.
is international visitors that we have that I've worked with many,
Mhm.
many,
Yeah.
and still now
Yeah.
today, to have our tourists and our guests is that they embrace the Māori culture because we are very respectful within the
Mm.
culture. Once our visitors are here, we do really make them a part of we the people of the land here in
Mm.
New Zealand,
Mm.
and majority of the time they are very safe, and that is something that is very important to us
Mm.
as people, as Māori, as human
Absolutely.
here.
No, I think very well said. So finally, we wanted to come to this beautiful topic that we are doing is what needs to happen to all the listeners who are listening now is like, okay, why are we doing? What is kids' voice? What are the basic things that the kids need that we needs to be given and not like as if like an obligation or as if like this like luxury or a comfort, but it is their basic human rights as a kids and as a human kids rights, to give them the basic amenities, but then also create an environment for them as also a
I
basic
think
human right.
I was grown up.
Mm.
I was taught, and but how I was taught, I
Mm.
believe, allowed me to be very free
Mm.
and open-minded,
Mm.
and I had no limits to
Mm.
my
Correct.
imagination.
Correct.
So I was able to walk into areas and be my absolute self because
Mm.
I was raised from a mother who was made sure that I knew that I
Mm.
could do anything that I put
Mm.
my mind to, no matter what, regardless of
Yeah.
financial circumstance,
Yeah.
regardless of
Mm.
anything, that she made sure that there was no limitations put on
Mm.
me mentally,
Yeah.
physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and also a father who done the same.
Yeah.
So my parents did that for me, and to
Mm.
be able to have them do that for me
Mm.
from a young age, and then be able to pass that on to my children and make I
Mm.
think that other people pick up on that.
Yeah.
Our children definitely pick up on that, and they're really happy to be themselves. I
Mm.
think that that's a great thing to be
Mm.
able to create an environment for a child where they're not worrying about what it is that you need to be sorting out as a
Mm.
parent.
Mm.
I try, actually, I make sure I make sure my children don't
Mm.
have to worry about finance.
True.
I don't, if I speak to them about finance, it's
Mm.
to ensure that they are
Mm.
unafraid to speak about what's important.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that that's really important for them to know that that's the only reason why would speak to them about finances, not to put limitations on their mental health or their spiritual being. Um, so I
Mm.
think that's really important as a
Yeah.
as someone that works with children and also
Yeah.
as a parent to be able to
Mhm.
um, create
Mhm.
environments where you're not limiting people
Yeah, you're
or
not
their
limiting
ideas or
people.
their creation.
100% I agree on that. And I think there are so much abnormalities when it comes
That's
to
the great
kids.
thing about the multicultural
Yeah.
is that
So,
there's that respect thing there.
yeah, I understand totally that, there are certain cultures who has got these beautiful values that they
Yeah.
come with.
Yeah.
And then there are certain cultures who have got belief system that they come with. Rather than the value creating, they have a belief system and a
Yeah.
faith system. But ultimately what matters for kids is not belief, not faith, but the value that they can create out of these kids, basically, because they are valuable, humans. At the end of the day, all humans are valuable, but kids are the starting point of human.
Absolutely.
So
They
I
are the
think,
hope of our future. And
yeah. So,
it's an exciting prospect to
yeah.
be able to speak about this,
Mm.
how
So,
important it is, why it's so important.
yeah, so I want to conclude this and I wanted to ask you finally to all the listeners who are listening and they have talked, they listened to us about certain things of humans, certain things of kids. What is your message to all the listeners that moving forward, how they should, in your Maori value-based system point of view, how would you urge and to give a message to all the listeners and about this, how to make this kid's voice become more prominent, become more obvious, become more like an ongoing continuation of listening to these kids, basically. What's your message to all the listeners?
Awesome. Firstly, thank you for letting me speak.
Hmm.
Sorry for interrupting towards the end.
No, it's
I
all
just
good.
wanted to make sure that I quickly put that in there. So thank you so much for allowing me that time to communicate and continue to have the conversation regarding this
Sure.
topic of kids' voice, why it's so important.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not in any position to kind of give any type of advice, but what I
No.
would say is that as a human, from a human to a human,
Hmm.
um, just to go back to the
Hmm.
first
Mm-hmm.
part of the conversation that we had, how important it is to acknowledge, to have the basic communications, to have the basic necessities in place, values, just to recap, those things are also important to protect what it is that is the natural essence of someone and
Hmm.
everything that they are created to be and everything that they represent and everything that they want to
Hmm.
continue to do, and to be able to wrap your support around that person in a way that's going to allow them to continue to shine so that we as the people can feel that that's what we want to feel from our children. We want to feel that they want to do their best, that they want to be happy, that they want to make you happy, and that's going to make you happy. And so that's the only thing that I can say is to continue to really just wrap our wings around our children as best as we can,
Hmm.
however we know that to be, and that everyone's doing such a good job already, and
Hmm.
that we're looking forward to, it's going to be a really, 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 really great future ahead.
Hmm.
We have our next generations, and it's an exciting prospect. Kia
Hmm.
ora.
So, no, thanks very much, Hini. This is amazing topic that we did today. And to all the listeners, please send us your feedback. Please write to us if you think that we can bring more and more topics like that. But we will continue this Kids Voice because it is going to be an
Just
ongoing
be
thing.
positive.
It is going to be an ongoing thing. It is not ends here because kids, they are the part and parcel of our life and of our human journey. So it's very important whether you have kids or you don't have kids, make sure that anything around you surrounded by kids needs to be looked after, needs to be with the same care, because don't forget you were once kids and you were once loved and taken care to what you are today. is because of that upbringing, environment, everything, and that is so important. And as Hine said very clearly, Maori values are inclusive, irrespective of where you come from, who you are, what culture it is, what language do you speak, it doesn't
We
matter.
just want to bring out the best. You
Yeah,
just want to
just to
bring out the
bring the
best
best out of the
in
kids because they are like a sponge. They are like mold. You can mold them just the way,
yeah.
you
The last
can.
thing that we want is for our beautiful children to retreat and
Mm.
to not be able to want to continue to be themselves. So that's why it is very important to have this conversation and take this conversation um, as
Yeah.
it is given and how it has been said. So thank you again for this opportunity.
No, thank you very much. It's very, very important, this topic, very, very important to talk about it, have a conversation, and then we continue this further to make sure that, we are reflecting each time, every day, that we were once kids. So let's not ignore kids. Let's not, deprive kids their rights, their entitlement. With that note, I once again thank Hine for your beautiful conversation, and we look forward to our next topic and next continuation of this as well. So until then, bye for now to all the listeners.